What's up, everybody? I hope you're all having an amazing day. I got a quick update on the Kyle Rittenhouse story. I've made several videos on this just to kind of keep you guys updated about what is going on. These are the videos that I do that get the comments are they just some people comment some really horrible things, which is fine. I can take it. I got thick skin. It just clearly shows me that some people are so misinformed. Some people are so into their feelings with all of this. Now, I say it every time. This is a complete and utter tragedy, any way you stretch it. I mean, you had the two people that lost their lives, the third guy that had his arm nearly blown off. Kyle could be facing life in prison if he doesn't go to jail and gets off. Still his life's completely screwed up from this. This is just no happy ending to this story. It's just a tragedy from the get-go. Kyle should not have been out there. Those rioters should not have been out there. And you can't call them protests. There was no protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. There were riots right from the jump, right when the whole Jacob Blake thing happened. Now, the whole Jacob Blake case wasn't, some kind of racial injustice that happened. The officers in that case didn't get charged with anything. If you go back and look at the facts of the case and why the officers didn't get charged, you'll see that it had nothing to do with race. It had to do with a violent felon committing a crime. Fought with the police, had a weapon. Period. Period. That was a tragedy in itself. Could have been avoided if this guy didn't just could have been avoided. Kyle shouldn't have been out there. He was asked by some people to help protect some businesses of a man that had two of his three businesses already burned to the ground, wanted to try to save his last business. Anyway, I'll explain to you this. I'm going to read you guys some of the comments I got on my last update on Kyle Rittenhouse, but let me tell you what's going on now. So it says, Wisconsin judge denies arrest warrant for Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, so denies new arrest warrant. So what was going on is he wasn't in the wind, but prosecutors were saying, oh, we don't know where he is. We don't have his new address. And then the news media lies. They lie. They blow things out of proportion. They were saying Kyle was on the run. Nobody knew where he was. That was nonsense. Kyle moved to a safe house. His lawyer was told by some law enforcement people that they should get Kyle to a safe house because of the threats. Obviously, the threats to Kyle and his family clearly that's going to happen. So they were told to put him in a safe house. And so they did. They got him to a safe house. Common sense. When they were asked about when his lawyer, asked the prosecutors, if we give you the address, is it going to stay sealed? They said, no, we're not sealing it. So they didn't give him the address. So now the judge agreed with Kyle's lawyers and said, yeah, you're right. He needs to be in a safe house. We're going to keep it sealed. Only those who need to know the address will know the address. We're not going to rearrest him. They wanted to raise his bail. They said, we're not going to rearrest him and raise his bail or any of that. This is crazy. And I agree. It's crazy. They should have said, yeah, of course we'll keep his address sealed. But let me read it real quick. All right. So it says a Wisconsin judge has refused to issue a new arrest warrant for Kyle Rittenhouse, the 18-year-old charged with killing two people in Kenosha, Wisconsin during protests last summer. They were riots. There was no protesting. Kenosha County Circuit Judge Bruce Schroeder also refused to increase Rittenhouse's bail. Prosecutors had asked Schroeder last week to issue a new arrest warrant and raise Rittenhouse's bail by $200,000, arguing that he violated the conditions of his bond. They say he did not inform the court of his change of address. Attorneys for Rittenhouse said their client withheld his new address because of threats to his safety. The judge agreed to keep the new address sealed and available only to certain members of the court moving forward, over protests from prosecutors. See, the prosecutors didn't want that sealed. Why would the prosecutors not say, yeah, of course, we're going to seal his address. That's fine. It's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Thank God the judge had some common sense and said, yes, he doesn't need to be rearrested and we don't need to raise his bail. He's having threats for his safety. You just keep him in a safe house. Give me the address. We're going to seal it. That's it. Now they know where he is. Simple. It's that. All right. Rittenhouse was released on bail in November after a $2 million bond was paid by what prosecutors call a dubious internet fundraising campaign. As Wisconsin Public Radio Corey Hess reports. He pleaded not guilty to all charges last month. Rittenhouse is accused of shooting 3 men. Okay, blah, blah, that's the end. Okay. All right. So that's that. So he's not going to get rearrested. His bail's not going to be raised. They have his address now. It's not going to be made public, which it shouldn't. So now, listen, if you need to know what happened in this, there's some journalists. It's called the DC Riot Squad. Richie McGinnis and a few other people. They've gone to all these protests all over the country. They were in Kenosha. They've been in Washington D.C. They were in I think they were in Minneapolis. These people go around and they film what goes on. Richie McGinnis. That's called the DC Riot Squad. If you check out Tim Pool made a video about this today about Kyle Rittenhouse. He's got a video on one of his channels that has over 1 million views where Richie McGinnis and the DC Riot Squad was on the Timcast IRL. Richie was there. Richie was the one that went up to Joseph Rosenbaum, the first kid that Kyle shot. And Richie was the first one there to render him aid. Richie saw exactly what happened. He was there. He was a witness to this stuff. And Richie specifically said it was absolutely 100% self-defense. You can go watch it. This kid was there. So let me read you guys a couple of comments from my last video. All right, so one guy says, I'm not going to read the names or anything. So I said something about whatever. I just happened to answer something. The guy says, Jesus Christ, how naive are you? The protests in Kenosha, and I'm reading this off my cell phone. This is a comment from my last video. Jesus Christ, how naive are you? The protests in Kenosha were motivated by desire for social justice and to bring attention to systemic racism in law enforcement. See, that's wrong. This is somebody that's misinformed. And I don't know, like this far out of what happened, and this person still doesn't know what happened. It says the protests in Kenosha were motivated by desire for social justice and to bring attention to systemic racism in law enforcement. No, there were no protests in Kenosha. There were riots in Kenosha right from the get-go. There were riots in Kenosha. People from out of town, Antifa, BLM from out of town, as soon as this happened with Jacob Blake, traveled to Kenosha, Wisconsin. They used this as an opportunity for more destruction. Like they showed up in Kenosha and just started burning stuff right off the jump. They just started burning stuff. And it didn't matter if you were flying the Black Lives Matter flag or had a sign. This Bradford Community Church had the Black Lives Matter on their sign. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're still coming. It doesn't matter. So they showed up in Kenosha from these people a lot of them were from out of town. They showed up. They went right to Kenosha as soon as they heard about Jacob Blake and they started rioting. So, and there was no, it says by desire for social justice and to bring attention to systemic racism in law enforcement. The thing is there was no, with the Kenosha police, it had nothing to do with race with Jacob Blake. There was nothing with Jacob Blake that had to do with race at all. It was the case of a violent felon fighting the police, having a weapon, committing a crime. In the process of a crime, the police didn't get charged with anything with Jacob Blake. Prosecutors looked at it and said, yeah, you guys did what you had to do. That's it. Case closed. No one's getting charged for shooting him. Then it says, Kyle Rittenhouse's victims were protesters. That's wrong. They were rioters. They weren't protesters. And Kyle Rittenhouse likely killed them because of the cause they represented. Now he is in the wind because he's guilty as hell. See, this is false. He was never in the wind. He was at a safe house. The prosecutors just say they weren't going to keep his address, sealed. So why would anyone want to give why would his lawyers want to give his address out if they say, no, we're going to make it public? Your commentary is as if you were there. No, I wasn't there, but I've listened to people who were there. Richie McGinnis, the DC Riot Squad. I've watched countless hours of videotape and read countless, stories and facts of things that happened on this. The New York Post or the New York Times, one of those magazines, posted a play-by-play of videos and pictures, like a perfect time frame of everything that happened. And it shows that everything that happened, as tragic as it was done in self-defense. I mean, you can go through and okay. You're obviously so biased. Jesus Christ, man, you have cherry picked all your facts. Like, what facts? What have I cherry picked? I mean, what I'm saying is these people showed up in Kenosha, Wisconsin from out of town, these Antifa and BLM people, for destruction. That's it. They immediately started burning things. Kyle wasn't there for any reason other than to try to protect this guy's business. He shouldn't have been there. The rioters shouldn't have been there. It's a tragedy. I mean, three people were shot. This kid's life's messed. It's a tragedy all around, and I'm not trying to make light of that, but you got to look. And it says I'm so biased. Like, how am I biased when I'm looking at the facts of the case? I don't know Kyle. Like, I don't know the kid from a hole in the wall. Like, if I thought he was guilty of even shooting one of those people by act like that he shouldn't have. Like, to me, the way he did, he wasn't just firing indiscriminately at people. I've gotten comments about that. He was shooting into the crowd. And no, he wasn't. That's the thing, is he wasn't. The only people that happened to get shot were people that were an immediate threat to him. I mean, it's clear. That's the thing, is I could pull up each clip. I don't. You can go look it up for yourself if you're not buying this. It says now he can't be found. Yes, he can. They know where he was. He was in a safe house. He was never on the run. All they had to do was say, yeah, we're going to keep it sealed. And they said, okay, here's his address. God, you don't even have the decency to shut up while this kid runs from justice. See, this is just all emotion. It's all misinformation and emotion. This guy's so misinformed. And I get it, like, you're heated up about it because you're so misinformed. Okay. All right, so there's that. Get another one to read to you guys too. Says, all right, this one says, I love how you play the aw shucks and the hemming and hawing for this little shitbird. You make me ill. Like, whatever, that's fine. That's your opinion. 1 second, I just gotta. All right, he left 3P. Okay. So this person says, I have never seen so much excuses for premeditated murder in my life. White privilege is one hell of a drug. This little punk is a racist who missed his intended target and shot white people. He went out of his way, crossed the state line. He lived in Antioch, Illinois, and worked in Kenosha. He crossed state line twice a day to go to work. It was like he lived as far away from Kenosha, from his house, as I do to go to my local grocery store. You know, it takes me 25 minutes to get to the grocery store. It took him that long to get to work from Antioch. This whole crossing state line things, it's... As the aggressor with a plan to shoot BLM protesters, hopefully blacks, under the guise of protecting property, he effed that up when whites came to disarm him instead. Why go on the run? He's not on the run. He's seen making all kinds of white supremacist coded signs. The OK sign's not a white supremacist sign. That's made up by these lefty liberals. That's not a white supremacist sign. There's an emoji with the OK sign. You think there would still be an emoji of the OK sign if that was a legit white supremacist sign? This guy's completely... This is really sad. While drinking underage is supported by his white nationalist peers. Kyle shot unarmed people and killed one. They weren't unarmed. One of the guys was pulling a gun on him. Like, the third guy that he vaporized his bicep was pulling out a gun. That's not unarmed. Nobody knows if those that attacked him would have killed him. That was a far stretch to get him off on self-defense. You can't attack people. You just said nobody knows if those that attacked him would have killed him. Like, they attacked him. If someone's attacking me, I'm not going to find out. That just shows you the mindset of this person. Nobody knows if those that attacked him would have killed him. Well, I'm glad he didn't stick around to find out. Like, I'm glad. If someone's attacking me, I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to give them a few minutes to attack me to see if they kill me or not. I'm going to do what I have to do at that moment I'm being attacked to stop from that. That's... and then it says, I said, wow, this is what happens when mainstream media pushes propaganda and misinformation. And then it says, then the person says, nah, this is what happens when the white privilege card is drawn. Evasion of justice. We all know if Kyle was black, he'd be dead. The cops would have raided his whole neighborhood, leading to more potential fatalities than innocent blacks. Get real. That's just that. Whatever. You can't say anything to those people. They're so misinformed, and this is the kind of person you're never going to change their mind. You could present them with the evidence, like lay it all right out in front of them, and they're still going to say that he went to Kenosha to or premeditated to. It's insanity. It's insanity. Like I said, Richie McGinnis, the DC Riot Squad was there. Go watch the video on Timcast. They tell you they were there. They'll tell you what happened. They saw what happened. They'll tell you. You see it right from someone who was witness, who had to give the police and the prosecutors and the defense and everybody statements because they were witnesses. They said Kyle defended. He absolutely defended his life. He had to do that to. They believed that he would have been killed if he did not do what he did. Tragic story all around. Yes, it is. And both of these people say, oh, Kyle's on the run because he's guilty as hell. He's not on the run. He was never on the run. His prosecutors have said the whole time he's in a safe house and they'll gladly give the address up if it stays sealed. I mean, his lawyers said that. The prosecutors disagreed. They protested that. The judge said, tough, we're keeping it sealed. Give me the address. Done deal. They know where he is now. But the mainstream media whips people up and says, oh, he's on the run. He's flashing white supremacist signs and he's doing it. People got to start thinking for themselves. Anyway, that's it, guys. So Kyle's not being rearrested. His bail's not being raised. And I don't know when the trial's going to start, but hopefully they can start this soon so this nonsense will be all over and done with. I get it. This is a very emotional case. You know, there's a lot of people that are really emotionally charged when it comes to these things. But and like you say, I'm biased. Like, how am I biased? I don't know Kyle. I don't know his family. Like, when I saw this happen, I was like, wow, that's really terrible. That kid, like, I first was like, oh, this kid needs to be. Well, when I found out the cops didn't get him, he took off the first night after it happened, but then he turned himself in. I said, good, the cops have him. But then I found out, I started watching what happened to the case. And then I was like, oh, well, this doesn't seem like he went there to try to do any of this. He was being attacked. Like, I don't understand the whole bias thing. Like, I have no skin in that game. But anyway, I've been rambling on too long, guys. Thanks for checking out my video. Hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. I'm sure I'm going to get some interesting comments here, but, you know, we can all agree to disagree. This has nothing to do with white privilege. This has nothing to do with race. It's a tragedy all around. All right, guys, stay safe out there. Till next time. Peace.